In this episode, today's guest is a repeat guest and he's here. I'm talking about the great Bryan Casella. Bryan is going to take us through what the hell is going on, how we can get through this lockdown mess intact and maybe even, heaven forbid, thriving. Check it out. This episode is brought to you by agentprospecting.com.au. What that means is this company that I've fully trained up, all of these people are fully trained up that literally they will prospect for you, be that telemarketing, be that Facebook lead generation. If you want more appraisals, just hand it to you, just email it to you. Name, email address, phone number, whether they're ready to sell or whether they just want to check up on price, all of that just emailed to you on one lead, one appraisal per day. agentprospecting.com.au. And also, let's just say this episode's also brought to you by me. If you haven't got a copy of my book yet, go to Amazon, and I think, don't hold me to this, but I think they're $1. So if you go to Amazon right now and get a copy of that book there for $1, it costs me more than that to print, I can promise you. Like literally, under cost price, cheaper than firewood. So there you go, grab a copy and use it and burn it if you hate it. So, but you might just love it because it is the story, punching above your weight. It is how I have been able to do things like that. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger there and me and him working out at Gold's Gym, doing activities like that, living the life of my dreams that I never thought possible, all contained the how-to, how I did it, the mindset, the marketing, just everything within that book. $1 at Amazon. Let's get on to today's episode. You want the normal real estate training you've been told a million times? Make cold calls, knock on doors. Best be switching off now, because in this podcast, we go out of the box using unknown tactics, primarily, that the real estate industry's never heard of, in order to get you called in more often, convert those listings, and get more success without the painful cold calling. Listen up, we're in for a ride. This is Real Estate Renegades. The legend Bryan Casella, I've described you when we brought you down to Australia. I've described you on the various times we've done this together. You're one of the most skilled linguistic and mental mindset experts, you know, not only experts, but practitioners, man. You live this stuff that I've ever met, man. So it's an honor to kind of share some of your views on this unique situation with some of our Aussie friends. So, man, where are you guys up to? Let me just get a quick update on what you were just telling me. You guys are 2 weeks in. We're about kind of one-ish. So we're maybe a weekish behind you guys. But give us an update of the state of things in the USA.
I mean, just complete, from a mental standpoint, Glenn, complete hysteria. You know, initially when we got shut down about 2 weeks ago, it's maybe been a little bit more, somewhere around there. I don't know the exact date. It's been craziness. So you go to the supermarket, a lot of the shelves are empty. I remember that first week I was making videos on my Instagram, almost laughing, saying, you know, if this is supposedly the zombie apocalypse that's going to end the world, why is everybody hoarding toilet paper? This makes absolutely no sense. Now, me being vegan, all the vegan stuff is still there, so I'm shopping like it's a normal
There
day.
is plenty of fruit and veg and fresh produce, man. The thing that's missing, you know what, Naomi went to get some mince, you know, it's just some minced beef or whatever, for her son. And they said to her, no, ma'am, you can't have 4 packets of mince. You've got to put 2 back. So the meat is being rationed out, but the fresh fruit and produce is just dandy. It's everywhere. It's crazy time.
It's been more, you know, because you have so many sources, right? So let's say I'm somebody who's going to now consume the media. We have so many different theories and philosophies and conspiracies that I'm seeing more people being caught up in that instead of on their lives. So the focus for me has been, as much as possible, because we're going to have to make some adjustments, right? We got shut down for 2 weeks. And I think as of 2 days ago, we're considered essential now in California, where we can not fully engage in real estate practices again, but they're starting to let us, you know, put listings up, take them off hold, and actually put properties under contract again.
And
that's
where we're example, at. We can do one-on-one inspections, but we can't do group opens anymore, and we can't have auctions in groups. So it's only one-on-one inspections, and that's where we're at the moment. The industry is worried about going to the next level, where people have said, "Don't leave your house," and that's what we're worried about. We're not there yet, but the industry's worried about hitting that.
Yeah, and even that, Glenn, if that were to happen, it's temporary. Right. I think if there's going to be a significant or huge impact, it's going to be because the consumer flips and the real estate agent professionals flip and they don't instill that confidence and certainty. So we're talking earlier about linguistics and mindset. That's important more than ever right now, right? So I've had so many conversations with new prospects, and I can tell you this, week one, almost every phone call, people are bringing it up and they're hysterical, right? We're in week two, and now it almost seems like people that we're calling are annoyed of the news. And it's not even about the virus anymore. They're just like, man, I'm sick of hearing about it. So it's almost, they're like apathetic about it, or they don't even care anymore 1 week later. So I'm getting that real-time information. And then people will, as an example, the consumer will see something on the news and they'll just make assumptions. Oh, the real estate market's going to crash. I'm like, interesting, sir. What makes you think that? Well, you see the news. Here, sir, do you have your cell phone on you? Okay, this is your cell phone number right here. I'm going to send you a picture. So what I did was, to the prospects that were telling me that, I took a snapshot, because here in our multiple listing, every time you log on, it gives you yesterday's statistics, new listings, pendings, closed. I sent him the picture. I was like, tell me what you just see right now that you got, sir. He's like, oh, this picture that says active, pending, sold. Right. Those are the properties that were transacted yesterday. What does that tell you about the real estate market right now, sir? Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's still going. Exactly. But what am I doing there, Glenn? All I'm doing is being a little bit creative and bringing the certainty that I know in what I'm doing. That's my world. I can't control what's going on the outside, man. I can't. But I can control how I respond. And one of the common threads I'm getting right now from people, Glenn, they're saying, oh my God, BC, how can you still be happy and living life like it's normal when all this is happening? I'm like, because I have no control over that. Yeah. So imagine if everybody responds to the extreme, which we're seeing a lot of people respond, or everybody being more calm and saying, hey, you know what, if something happens, or if there's an economy crash or real estate crash, we're going to approach it from a calm state, from a state of, you know what, we'll deal with it if it happens. So I ran those scenarios in my mind, Glenn, and I've been doing so many, interviews and lives for like RedX and Vulcan 7 and all these real estate companies and softwares. And that's been the common thread. I think it's going to come down to the individual, especially in our industry, to be that voice of reason in this time. And that's just the conversations I'm having with people, like a seller or a buyer. Hey, I can give you the statistics of today, yesterday, the last 2 weeks since this has started. I don't have the crystal ball for the next month or two. But what your goals are, if they align with what we can do now, let's do it. And if it is in your best interest to wait, then let's wait. But let's make a decision. Let's not sit in no man's land where we're dipping our toes in the water and maybe today, maybe tomorrow. So if I'm going to go out and speak and do an event with Glenn, I'm not going to say, hey, Glenn, I'm going to think about it. I'm not sure. I don't trust these airplanes. I'm going to say yes or no. And that's it. And the better we get as communicators and the better we can control our world up here, the easier it's going to be to convey that message, because I can have all the right words, and you know this, Glenn. But if I'm internally all over the place, the message will not be delivered, and you know that. And I can stand here confidently amidst anything and stare my client in the face and tell them the facts and what they need to hear and give them a clear plan, and they can decide yes or no. I can do that with the coronavirus, with the swine flu, with whatever it is, man. And I think anybody can get that confidence. They just have to work for it. Right, which is why I love doing, things with you, Glenn, and I love what you teach, because you're in line with this. And I think more than ever, the world needs this in real estate and outside of real estate 100%, because I don't know about you, I am sick and tired of seeing all this stuff on social media, man. I'm just over it. I'm completely over it. It's almost to the point where if I'm posting media, I want to post and then just stay off of it.
And then run. Yeah. That's what I tell you. Yeah. Me and Naomi found the same thing, man. It was starting to affect us to a degree. And we got pretty strong mindsets and things. We got caught up in it. So now that's what we do. Like, this is streaming live on Facebook Live. I'll get on there. I'll talk to some of my people that are on this thread and these comments and that. Then I'm gone, because there's a lot to do other than sit there and scroll with another person's bro science opinion. Again, one way or the other, we just got to get on with it. Otherwise, we're going to get caught up in the mess. It's painful.
Yeah. And a lot of the stuff I see is, it's okay, cool. You want me to take precautions? I can, but we can do that with the sane mind. We don't have to freak out. A lot of the stuff that they're giving is basic hygienic guides and information. We should have been washing our hands anyway. You know what I mean? Now, if you want to wear a mask, go for it. That's okay. So I've been respecting other people's wishes. If they don't want to shake hands, totally fine. But I'm not getting riled up about it. I'm not freaking out about it, man. And that's the biggest thing that I've seen is people are just in loony land. I'm getting messages from realtors. The first day, Glenn, I'm getting out of the business. I'm leaving. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's been 1 day and you're already leaving the business. Why did you get your license in the first place?
Yeah.
So the moment a little bit of adversity is thrown into the picture, you just run for the hills. And I'm like, man, so me as an agent, right? And you've been in the business a lot longer than me. I am almost salivating at the mouth, man, because I know it's about to be, as Trump would say, they're going to drain the swamp. And we're going to see a lot of people exit the industry. A lot of people who are amateurs get weeded out, because more than ever, I think the positives that are going to come from this, Glenn, are it's going to force real estate agents to step up. We have to really, and man, you're the master at this. We have to embrace video and social media and marketing through video and actually showing our mugs here on the camera, right? Yeah. Doing Zoom meetings, doing virtual tours of properties, promoting our brands and ourselves and marketing through video more than ever. Now it's basically a requirement, especially here, because we still can't meet people in person. So we have to do it, right? Another thing I'm curious about too, and I can ask this question to you. We were forced to put properties on hold here for the last 2 weeks. And I know on the MLS, they'll go on hold, but I'm unaware how the third-party websites are going to handle it, meaning are the days on market still going to accumulate on those websites? Because if they do, that could be an interesting little wedge, I think, that might confuse the consumer or maybe make them distrust maybe some of these third-party websites now, because we're literally being forced by the government to put our listings on hold, yet those third-party websites won't honor that and stop the days on market. You know what I mean? So that's just one thing I was kind of thinking about. And I don't know if that's happening over there in Australia yet, because in my mind, that could actually be a positive for us, because we feel like the third-party websites are against us and they're going to weed us out as agents. This could be a valid point to bring up to prospects moving forward as we educate more that, hey, you do need to consult with a professional because you don't know what's going on with these third-party websites, you know?
Yeah, we don't really have as much of a challenge with the third-party websites. On our major players, be it realestate.com, domain.com, to my knowledge, either A, they don't have days on market displayed, so it's a non-issue, or B, the consumers don't really hang their hat on it, because a lot of the time the consumers let their own research and knowledge, or they ask the real estate agent at the open house or whatever, hey, by the way, how long's it been on the market? So it's kind of like they get that data in sporadic communication rather than having these third parties kind of thrust it down their throats. That's probably coming, but that hasn't really taken over down here at the moment, because A, we don't have an MLS. Like we don't have an MLS. So really we get our listings, we put them up on the two major portals, really the one, but the two major portals, realestate.com and domain. Then we have our own marketing initiatives that are almost taking over, at least in my little coaching world, where we go direct to consumers through Facebook, social media advertising. We're going direct to consumers in the tens of thousands for pennies in the dollar on the marketing spend. And between those three mechanisms, those third parties are almost a non-event kind of thing. So, which
is awesome, man. And I love that, right? And that's why what you do is even more effective over there. Wow, that's amazing. So one other thing I wanted to touch on that I've been leveraging that might be a good piece of advice for the people watching this is, more than ever now, I said this word earlier, and I think it's the key and something you need to hang your hat on is education, right? Amongst this, chaos of coronavirus, I've seen, especially here in California.
The situation. We don't call it the C word. The situation. I'm learning from my man, Bryan. He said before on a live, I was watching Bryan's live before, and he said, I'm not even talking about it anymore. It's just now from here on in, it's the situation.
Dude, and I just filmed a YouTube video where I said that, and I used that verbiage throughout the whole video. It's so funny. So the interesting part is we're seeing, obviously, California Association of Realtors and the whole United States in general coming out with, new addendums for it and making adjustments for it. So what I've done is position myself as the educator, as that outlet to give that news. And all these videos we're sending to, as an example, our database. We have, I believe, 2,500 emails of past customers, other agents and relationships we built. Our email open rate, Glenn, used to be 25, 30%. Since we started doing these educational videos, it's more than doubled our email open rate just by doing education. And guess what? Some of those people now who maybe are getting off the fence, now that this initial hysteria is kind of dying off, they're saying, hey, I'm looking to buy. Hey, I'm looking to sell. Can we chat so we can get an up-to-date, real estate market update or some information to see what you guys think about our situation? So I'm already positioned now. So I've used this, again, as an opportunity, but I know you guys are the same, you and Naomi. You're looking for the opportunity in this. We're not sitting here and complaining and watching Tiger King and whatever that other thing, oh, so you said, or whatever.
Yeah, Ozark. There
we go, Ozark.
We're up to season 3, and I've never watched a minute. I don't even know what it is. That's why when you were saying about the Tiger King, I've heard things about it. I didn't even know what they meant. I thought, you people are losing your mind. And then when you went on a rant about that a minute ago, I'm like, Bri, you're singing my song with your words, man.
So we find it. And I've said this, even though it's almost cliche at this point, what happened in the last crash of 2008 to 2010, 11, more millionaires were made then than at any other time in the history of the world. And that is from an unfortunate situation, right? However, people, they jumped on it because if it happens, it happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen. However, we have to find the opportunity in it. And that's what I'm doing, because I'm looking at what we're doing, the listings we're putting on the market, the buyers are working with. And I'm sitting here saying, man, why is everybody freaking out so much? Pretty much everything is normal for us. I mean, we've made some adjustments, but it hasn't been anything extreme. And that's just the reality of my situation. Maybe it's because of, all the trainings we've done and all the preparation we've done and the position we put ourselves in. But then that's a testament of the hard work and following the process that we've laid out for so long, right?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Well, man, definitely. I know it's tacky that I just chucked that up behind me, the breaking news thing, but it is a thing that these little things where we go from being an agent. And again, Bryan, you've got such good following. You absolutely can afford yourself the leeway because you've been so consistent for years on end that they know your face, your brand, your personal brand and things. But for the agent that maybe doesn't have a VC type brand, they absolutely, with a green curtain behind them, can look as professional almost as a media outlet with just a green curtain. Like it's just all that is just a green curtain from, I don't know what your version of it would be, but over here it's called Spotlight. It's just some fabric tacked up on the wall. Nothing crazy, So little things like that. I mean, I do normally like it just to be nice and subtle with my branding on there. Maybe something like that. When I was on the Real Estate Censored, so I got their brand there and my brand there, kind of thing. But that kind of thing. But let me just show you one thing, man, because I'm at the moment doing this little event. Where are we? I'll bring in my PowerPoint. Now, I haven't got my ads manager open at the moment, but this was a screen grab from last night. I started these ads 24 hours before I got this screen grab. These are lead generation ads for people who want an appraisal on the value of their home in this market. Literally, that was 36 hours ago, and I screen grabbed this 12 hours ago. 22 people. Now, 2 of them are agents. One of those 4 is an agent, and one of those 3 is an agent. But so 20 people in this market at an average of $7 in advertising spend per appraisal are actually interested in what the hell's going on with my property price. So you tell me, for your guy who's ready to go after one day of lockdown, an idiot like me who has not listed a property in 12 years, has not done a listing presentation in 12 years, has 0 brand in any of those areas, like none of those people contacted me because I'm a known and trusted advisor in their marketplace. I just ran some ads, paid $7, and I'm in front of a consumer who needs help in the real estate market.
Yeah.
Tell me it's over. No way. It's crazy, man.
Like I said on my live, the people who say, you know what, Glenn, I'm all in, let's do it. Those are the people that are going to shine and going to win. And everyone else who's a little bit afraid, or I don't know, Glenn, maybe for the next 6 months, I won't make any money. And they buy into the hysteria. They're going to watch the people that go in with you, go all in, succeed. And they're going to be kicking themselves in the butt saying, why didn't I do it 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago? But hey, that's always been the story. And I know you've heard it. We've seen it. This is just the next excuse to not do it. So my recommendation to people is double down. As risky as it may seem, as scary as it may seem, I still remember vividly knocking on my first door and sweating bullets, hoping they wouldn't open the door. I had my backpack on. I looked like a fool. I didn't know what I was saying. I had my script in my hand and said, hey, I have some questions for you. And they looked at me like, what the hell? Is this like your first day? I was like, yeah, actually it is. If I can do that, then you guys can take the first step. I mean, please, come on. If they had a camera on me, it would have been like the most embarrassing moment ever. I would have gotten 20 million hits on YouTube saying this guy's a loser. He's never going to be good at sales. He's horrible. So if I can make it through that, man, you guys can do everything. And that's kind of one of my references. And for everybody else watching this, the recording or live, I guarantee you've been through a worse moment or what seemed like a worse moment to you at some point in your history, right? Whether you were a kid, last year, last week, 10 years ago. And this is just another thing. It's another blip in the radar. but you can make it through. It's just a matter of deciding and trusting yourself. And that's really what it's been about, Glenn. You know, I've learned some of that from you too. I have an extreme amount of trust in myself and in my skills and in my ability to adapt and get things done and figure it out, because we're all students at the end of the day. So I'm looking at this too strategically, almost like a commander in chief, you know, like I'm strategizing for war. And I know I can do it, and I trust myself. So when I say, okay, battalion attack from the left, I know that's the right move to make. And if it's the wrong move, I'll make the adjustment. But that's why I have other commanders in chief like yourself to refer to and talk to, who can say, hey man, try this.
Man, love it, bud. Love it. Well, man, it's so cool to and man, we haven't chatted as much, you know, kind of casually. So as we move from sort of that to just kind of catch up, mate, I understand you sold the Lambo. Did I see that on social?
Yes, it's been almost 3 years, man, and my back is killing me from riding in it because I'm too tall. So I finally decided to sell it.
And did your new buyer, was he upset about the claw marks that I left in the handle, in the door handle from when I was holding on for grim death?
You won't believe it. He's like, wait, are those Glenn Twiddle's scratches? I was like, yeah. He's like, bro, sold. I'm buying it. Right. I was like, of course you know Glenn.
That was classic, man. Brian did take me for a ride in that thing, man. I tell you. I don't know what the speed limit is in his neck of the woods, but Brian, for those of you guys who've never met Brian, he lives in the neighborhood where they filmed Back to the Future. And he took me to the Twin Pines Mall where they filmed the movie. And I tell you, on the way there, the speed limit might have been whatever, but he was doing 88 miles per hour. I know it. But no, it's awesome to see. And I understand you caught up with my friend Mike Sherrard, our mutual friend Mike. Did he pop down and see you not so long back?
Yeah, he came to LA. I guess he was going to another mastermind, and we met up there in downtown because I live, 15, 20 minutes away from downtown LA. So we met up and we did a video as well. So I caught up with him and finally got to meet him because we've been going back and forth on social media for, 3 years. So to finally meet him was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. And for someone who's so inexperienced, he does remind me of you. He's relatively inexperienced, crushing, great attitude, and a door knocking beast. That's the other thing. My most recent podcast, just filmed, not dropped yet. Have you ever heard the name Kenny Brooks?
Sounds familiar.
He's that guy who went door to door telling jokes, selling the spray.
Yes.
You know the guy?
Yep.
Man,
yep.
I hooked him up and we did a little podcasting thing. I got to get, because you two are probably the two best door knockers I've ever met. And yet you're so different. I would love to see you guys connect and share notes, man. So he's fantastic.
I love that guy. He's the great example I show people. I'm like, dude, this guy he has – one thing I notice about him that I love is he has an unbelievable amount of charisma that I love. And it's infectious. You can't not pay attention or want to give your time to somebody like that. And I think if people could really tap into something like that, because that's not a script, Glenn, that's not a script. That's like a persona. That's a vibe. And I think if people can tap into that even 10% as much as he did, the results would just shoot through the roof. And I'm sure that when is that podcast going to drop? Because I'm going to be the first one to watch it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you straight away as soon as we're done. I'll send it to you. Don't know when I'll drop it. But what we did is we broke down the video. Like he watched the video, then we pushed pause and then discussed the technique that he was using. So you're right, it's not a script, it's a vibe, but it's very intentional. There is very little that is just random there when he's handing him the bottle. That is very much all of those things. If you got it, would you get just one bottle or would you get the whole case? All those yes or yes close. He is unbelievable. Yeah, so I definitely got to connect you guys, and I'll send you the episode, man. So
awesome.
Very cool. What time is it there, man?
8:19 p.m.
Wow, cool. We're still mid-morning, so mate, a big day ahead of us. I started at 3:30 a.m. There was a mob over there called Be Different Conference. They had a conference, and so I was up speaking at that for my USA friends at like 4. I got up at 3:30 to be speaking at 4 a.m. and I'll finish tonight at about 10 p.m. So there's the working day, 4 a.m.
That's incredible, man. And I salute you for that, Glenn, because you're probably one of the most hardworking people that I've ever met. I've never met anybody like. Anybody else would be like 4 a.m. Forget it. Glenn's like, I'll be up at 3 and I'll be on at 3:30 if you want me to. And that's why you're in the position that you're in, man. And that's why I recommend you to so many people, Glenn. I mean, we may not talk too often, dude, but your name is coming out of my mouth so much.
As yours, man. Whenever I want skill set added above and beyond, what's supposed to be possible in a short amount of time, man. You're one of the best. So those things that we've done, whether it's been on Zooms like this, whether it's been a couple of times when you've been down and coached us in person in Australia, man, it's just been an honor hanging with you. Or the time we went to, for those of you guys who don't know the story, I tell it all the time and it annoys me, but they let me call Cerritos, a little suburb called Cerritos, Cerritos, and all of the Americans, so Brian, the $1 million listing stars, the real estate uncensored guys, would just sit there and chuckle at me saying, we're going to go and meet at Cerritos. And then after everything's done, they're saying, hey, Glenn, we got to tell you something. Very cool. Classic. BC, classic. Thank you, man. Guys, you got to follow him. Follow him on YouTube. Follow him on Instagram. He drops knowledge bombs off the hook. If you do want your stuff PG rated, best not, right? Best not. But if you like it raw, real, with skill set up the wazoo, with attitude to boot, you've got to follow this guy. He's one of the best, and I'm honored to call him a mate, a mentor, and I'm honored that every now and then he drops me a little bit of credit that's completely undeserved, because this guy's as good as they get. BC, thanks again, man. Let's connect again as this craziness goes on. Sure. Let's do this every now and then, eh?
Got to get you on my podcast too, dude, so I'll send you a message.
I'd be honored. Thanks, BC.
All right, brother.
My man.
See you, man.
Later, buddy.
Wow. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode. If you like that, then what you need to do is you need to subscribe. You need to get more of this craziness, because we got more are coming. I'm never standing still, and we've got so many more guests. We've got so many more strategies, more out-of-the-box thinking. So if you haven't subscribed, literally, you're like throwing away thousands of dollars. Because I tell you, if you haven't subscribed, you don't come back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find you, I'm going to market to you, and I'm going to charge you for the very stuff that on this podcast we give away for free. So whack that subscribe button on whatever your favorite podcast weapon of destruction is, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.